The parishioners of Olive Branch Church waited patiently for the service to begin on April 30, 1989. But Pastor Robert Bailey did not show up. Even his family was absent from their pews. After going to check on the family, churchgoers found the pastor, his wife and 2 daughters inside the house, lying in a pool of blood. The Indiana State Police immediately noticed that the pastor's son, Jeff Bailey, who was supposedly in trouble, was missing. The teen had been arrested for burglary a few weeks earlier, and his father had banned him from attending the prom as a result. To the police, this seemed like a motive, and Jeff Bailey became the prime suspect. When police tracked him down at an amusement park the next day, they learned he had dressed in his best suit and partied merrily with friends at a prom the night before. Eventually, he was charged and convicted of murdering 4 members of his family, but questions remain about whether he actually committed the crime. In order to know if he was the one who killed his family, we must know who Jeff Bailey is. Robert Jeffrey Bailey was born on December 10, 1971, into a religious family. His parents, Ava and Robert, met at Mount Vernon Nazarene University in Ohio in the 1960s. They married in 1970 and had Bailey in 1971. His younger sister, Jackie, was born in 1976. While his father's primary focus was his faith, the man landed a lucrative job in computer programming in 1980. This opportunity led him to Cape Coral, Florida, where Ava Bailey was diagnosed with skin cancer in 1984. She died the following February after refusing treatment. Within a few months, Robert Bailey met Dwayne Hopper. The 27-year-old had recently lost her husband, and the widowers quickly fell in love. They were quickly married in November 1985, and Jeff and Jackie met their half-sisters later. With the addition of Hopper's 3 daughters, Jessica 5, Janelle 4, and Jolene 2, the new Bailey family moved to Lakeville, Indiana, in 1986. While Robert Bailey led a congregation of up to 50 at Olive Branch Church, things at home were less peaceful. I know there was a lot of tension in that family between him and his father, between Bob and Jeff, Indiana State Police Detective Mark Center recalled. I know there was one instance where Bob beat him up. I think the neighbors saw a lot of the same thing, too. Still, the Baileys lived quietly in the outbuilding next to the church until early 1989, when Jeff Bailey was arrested for stealing CDs and cash from a local home. Center himself worked the case. Bob Bailey put Jeff in chains for the burglary, Center said. This was a big deal for Bailey, as his prom was a 2-day event that included a traditional dance on Saturday, April 29th, and a school-organized trip to Great America Park on Sunday, April 30th. Center speculated that Bailey was frustrated when his father stopped him from attending and thus responded violently. Center claimed that Jeff Bailey only attended prom after he had shot his father, his wife and his 2 half-sisters to death. The crime scene was discovered by David Hathaway after the pastor missed a Sunday service at 9:30 a.m. When no one answered his knocks, he found a key and went inside. He first saw the pastor's glasses on the floor, then his body. Local police found Dawn Bailey dead, cradling her 2 dead daughters. No one should have seen what we saw that morning, Center recalled. It didn't look like a burglary. It didn't look like a home invasion. As a detective, you saw the worst you could see that morning, but we had work to do. So we immediately started talking about suspects. Since Jackie, Jessica, and Jeff Bailey survived the massacre, investigators investigated their alibis. Jackie was out of town visiting a college friend, while Jessica had spent the night at a slumber party. Jeff, however, was in town and was noticeably angry with his father. I think he killed his family and then managed to go to prom, Center concluded. Police questioned Jeff Bailey at the station with his grandparents after tracking him down at an amusement park on April 30th. When asked about his wife, he said, "We didn't get along very well. I mean, we talked casually, but we didn't really talk to each other or anything. I mean, I didn't hate her or anything, but we just tolerated each other." But without a murder weapon, forensic evidence or eyewitnesses, the case against Bailey was fairly weak. St. Joseph County Detective John Butch was relying solely on circumstantial evidence and the timing of the events. He noted that several people stopped by Bailey's home Saturday to show off their prom dresses or suits until 5 p.m. No one visited the home after that, and Jeff Bailey's gray 1984 Ford Mustang was gone by 5:30 p.m. There was a very, very small window of time when the family could have been killed, and it was very clear that the only person who could have done it was Jeff, said Frank Schaefer, Assistant St. Joseph County Prosecutor. Schaefer's theory was this: after using the family's shotgun to kill the 4 victims, Bailey hid the weapon and its magazines. Then he washed his pants, showered, got dressed, and drove to a friend's house to pick up his girlfriend for prom. But there wasn't enough evidence to charge him until 2002. Police didn't release the evidence to the public. At the time he was charged with the prom night murders, Jeff Bailey was a newlywed family man living in Florida and working as a consultant for IBM. But now he faced 4 counts of murder. His trial began in 2006, with prosecutors relying on a timeline they had drawn up in 1989. The defense argued that wasn't plausible. By all indications, the people who were with Jeff that night described him as just one of the group, having a good time, defense attorney Alan Baum said. To think that he spent that entire night doing all the things they did and having fun like a kid after killing his family is just unbelievable. A jury found Billy guilty on all counts in 2006, and he was sentenced to 160 years in prison, a sentence that was upheld by the Indiana Supreme Court in 2009. However, a few years later, Francis Watson of the McKinney Innocence Clinic filed for post-conviction relief, an opportunity to challenge a conviction or sentence by presenting new evidence, raising constitutional issues, or discussing errors made during the trial or sentencing process. The basis for the retrial was a 1989 limonene test of Bailey's washing machine drum, which did not actually determine whether there was blood or even detergent in the machine that day to prove whether he had tried to clean his bloody clothes. I argued that the claim that Bailey washed his pants unfairly misled the jury at his trial. Furthermore, the extraneous text was not introduced into evidence. Prosecutors had interviewed a woman in 2003 named Toni Bueller, who spoke about Robert Bailey's shady financial dealings in Florida. She said he was afraid of being killed by his clients, but additional information about that claim remains unclear. To this day, Jeff Bailey remains behind bars for the murders of 4 members of his family when he was a teenager in 1989. Here we come to the end of the story. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to like and subscribe.